Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the PHNX Rising post-game show brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and leave a 5-star review. My name is Ramon Chavez. I'm super happy to be here. Owen, probably not so much, but Owen, how you feeling, man?
Oh, God. Yeah, it's been a day, hasn't it? It really has been a day.
Yeah.
We're about to talk about the most inconsequential part of that. It's the football. Let's go.
So yeah, Owen,
I don't really know where to begin.
let me set you up here. Let me set you up. So Las Vegas takes the victory tonight, 3-2 over Rising. First half, not pretty at all. Pretty badly, I could say. That was one of the worst halves that we've seen this season. But in the second half, I'm not sure what was in that pep talk in the halftime show. But Rising came out with a little bit more fire in their bellies, and they were able to kind of claw back a little bit until the duo of Danny Trejo and Cal Jennings showed up. But Owen, a little bit of what has been happening the past few weeks continued today, especially during the first half. But in the second half, you saw more fire from the guys on the field and the will and the fight. But ultimately, they couldn't get it done. Now, give us your initial thoughts. I know you were able to speak to Rick after the game, so we'll talk about that we'll watch that video in a quick second. But what are your initial thoughts right after this loss?
I feel like it's a game of two very different halves, where the second had energy but still perhaps lacked purpose or skill at times.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the first half felt as though, quite frankly, they had given up. They looked as though there was no desire to fight on, and that was something that was noted even by some of the Vegas staff here. Okay, they just didn't recognize this as a Phoenix Rising team because it didn't look like a Phoenix Rising team.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's. You know what? You know what's always a good conversation starter, and you did allude to it there. I did get the chance to speak to Rick Schantz after the game. Let's kick off with his opening thoughts and see what he had to say.
Let's see it.
Let's see it. Where's our producer here? God.
It's there somewhere. Before we cut to that real quick, Scott Mitchell, thank you so much for the super chat. He's saying, cheer up, guys. You still do the best analysis in the USL. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Scott. Humbled to hear that. Really appreciate that. But, yeah, I'm not sure if our producer is ready right now. But yeah, just like you're saying, like a tale of two halves. And, I'm sure Rick had a lot to say after the game.
You know what? Yeah, let's cut straight over to that. I believe our producer's Wi-Fi might be back, or he's got an alternative solution to that. So let's crack on with Rick. All right, so Rick, another loss. Then where did it go wrong today?
Well, I thought man, it's frustrating because defensively we were sitting way too deep. After we had the header off the crossbar. We kind of had a little bit of momentum. We were ready to go, playing well, and then I think we just lost confidence. And Darnell and James Musa were pulling Calistri and Santi way too deep. That wasn't part of the plan, and I think it was just out of fear. And then the midfield couldn't get close to theirs, and so we had no chance to get any pressure on them. And the first goal, you got to really give it to their player for what a finish that was. And the second goal was, a square pass in midfield, and we said that we can't have any of that, and we got punished. So you're down 2-0 at halftime, and I was furious with them, and I thought way too many mistakes, zero quality, and we went back to a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, and I said enough. I'm going to stop protecting them with changes in the system, and they have to start performing. And I thought Marcus and Santi actually probably had their best 45 minutes in the second half. Greg was really good as a second forward. Richie, not fit enough, I think that when Arturo and Luis get healthy, the way we played in the second half will be better. James Musa made a big mistake on the third goal. He lost his mark in the penalty box. And, you give up 3 goals on the road, it's tough to win.
Wow, a lot to digest there.
A lot to digest, yeah. I mean, the first half performance, let's just be clear, was atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way of putting it, is there?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone I know, we were all just sitting around here. There were the boys from Blaze Radio were up here. There were multiple fans down there in the stands chatting to, and everyone was just looking at each other like, "He's done. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
This game is done." It felt as though there was just no desire, no fight, that they'd given up, completely and utterly given up. And then, yes, the second half was better, but it wasn't good enough still.
Yeah, no, that first half was really tough to watch. And before we continue, Owen, I do want to shout out everybody in the chat right now. Everybody's going bananas here. I really appreciate you guys. Tyler, by the way, thank you for joining us 2 hours before we even got on, by the way. Pat, Corey, Bonnie here, got Ryballs, Gerardino, Alex T, Rusty, thank you so much. Emma here says, I needed a drink after the first 20 minutes of this match. Yeah, exactly. The first initial 15 minutes, I felt they were okay. I felt Rising, especially with that almost goal by Antwi, I believe, that nearly crossed the line over there by the goal. It kind of gave me the feeling again of like, maybe they're over there. They're gonna start fighting, but then it kind of turned into that Loudon game a little bit, where okay, they almost got on the board, they get in a little bit of confidence, and boom, everything just falls apart. Everything goes down the drain, and then the guys just look disinterested. Nobody's marking, nobody's pressing, nobody's cutting off lanes. And Las Vegas, we talked about this on this entire week, Owen, where if you give them enough space, they have the speed and they have the counters, and especially with someone like Cal Jennings and Danny Trejo on the field, they're going to make you pay. And when other guys step up, like Casala today, who wonderful goal, by the way, and I think Calistri could have done a lot better in closing off that first goal, but you kind of just throw your hands up like, what's going on with these guys? So it was really tough to watch.
Just a little bit. I mean, look, we were all confused for a starter. You know, we were confused by what exactly that lineup in the first half was going to even look like. We really didn't know, did we?
Yeah.
Because
as soon as I saw Madrid, I'm like, what is going on here?
Well, Madrid was in there. You just kind of look at the lineup, just the names, and you think, well, surely he's playing Calistri as a fullback, Darnell as a fullback, and it's like kind of back to a 4-3-3, and that wasn't the case at all. It was a 3-5-2. I don't know. It felt a weird one. Typically, when you play three at the back, you expect to have some paciness in there at the back, and then you put Manuel Madrid in there. Yeah, I mean, I know you were confused when you see Manuel Madrid. Again, it's nothing on Manu. It's nothing on him as a player. It's just that if you're looking for someone with pace, he's not it. He's just not it.
Yeah, and like to Rick's comments, that he thought that they were playing with a little bit of fear. They were getting pinned back in their own half, and you saw that, you know, and it's disheartening to see a team that used to be the pinnacle of USL reduced to this sort of team that you see in the first half, not being aggressive, playing with fear, and just not trying at all. So it was really tough to watch that first half. Now, that second period, down 2-0, you put it on our Twitter, PHNX__rising. You said, is this pretty much wrapped up? What are your thoughts about this? A lot of people were sounding off. And all of a sudden, you see people like Marcus Epps. There's a change from Darnell King going out, Babu coming in, which I feel by week by week that Babu just is becoming one of the best players for Phoenix Rising. And then you see Santi Moar score, Marcus Epps doing Marcus Epps things that we saw last season. And all of a sudden, this team kind of clawed their way back into it. So how did you feel those initial minutes with those changes?
I think it was something of a shock initially because you weren't expecting the captain to be pulled at halftime. Now, Rick said that was performance-based. He felt that Darnell had not done enough in the first half to justify coming back out for the second half. But look, it reignited something in them. There's something sometimes about going in 2-0 down and getting, I'm trying to think of the right way of putting this, but I suppose it's something that what will be called the hairdryer treatment, right? They really get it from the coach. It's really harsh kind of criticism in the locker room, and they give it to themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
That's and some of these players on this team are those kind, right? They're honest with each other. They hold each other accountable. They do hold each other to a high standard. But you wonder if halftime then is when they regrouped in that way, and that's why they ended up clawing their way back into this game.
Antwi and Hurst up as like the strikers. I felt that worked in instances. Rick said that Antwi just wasn't fit enough to continue playing in that game. During that first goal, the Santi Moar goal, he did a great job holding the ball, relaying it down to Ebbs, who was able to switch it to Hurst initially, but then it went over to Santi Moar. So how much of a confidence booster is this for having Antwi out there? I know Repetto didn't make the trip this time, but Antwi being out there, I felt like he played decently, didn't do too bad, didn't really wow me either. But how did you feel about that?
I didn't feel that Antwi had a particularly good game. I feel that the lack of fitness was showing. He was really not in it at times. There were times where you just saw frustration from other players out wide looking to get the ball into him, and he just wasn't there. And I think that really frustrated some of the other players on there. Look, is it a fitness thing? Possibly. Very possibly, as Rick alluded to in the post game. Ultimately, though, he was given the start of a Greg Hurst. That was put down to, again, performance reasons. Rick feeling that Hurst's performance last weekend wasn't good enough. That's why he made the change. Repetto, there's no injury there. He just wasn't in the 18 for today's game. The important question, Reese here with the important question: why did Antwi wear number 50? I've got it on good knowledge here that his jersey may have been left in Phoenix.
Oh my God!
So
we usually don't pack it.
It was an emergency number 50 jersey for him apparently today.
But I had that Jordan performance. Yeah. Jeff here with the comment says, in previous years, we always had a strong group of players right up the middle of the pitch. We don't see that now, and the complementary players on the wings are not there.
You know what, though? Strong group of players up the middle of the pitch. Let's be perfectly honest here. Aodhan, Quinn, and Kev Lambert in this game. They played in this game. And then you had Koze, who I don't think he's playing in his full potential yet. It's still going to take time. But there are some good flashes there. Okay, you can see that he's got something about him, even if it's going to take him a little while to actually get up to full speed.
Yeah, I think the chemistry, especially with Koze.
So it's not as though the midfield is, on paper, bad. It's just in practice, it's just not working.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the wings for a little bit. Jeff alluded to that. Santi Moar scores his first goal of the season. To me, that was a huge relief just to see him, first touch, just put it in the back of the net. No hesitation. He just saw the opportunity, took it. And he had another opportunity a little bit later on in the game, which he kind of hesitated on. And I thought he could have at least tried to go at goals. So how did you feel about Santi? Is this a sign of things to come for him? And overall, getting that monkey off his back with the first goal of the season?
I think it's a good thing. He's got to get it off his back, but the problem is that the team as a whole needs to be putting in consistent performances, right? And that's really where the problem is. They aren't doing that, even if they're getting them late on. And so that's again, that's the problem, right? Is he just going to be Aodhan Quinn in terms of scoring goals when it doesn't really matter because the team have managed to concede more? At this point, it's good for him as an individual, and it could bode well for the team if the team as a whole step up. But that's the challenge. The team as a whole have to step up. Yeah,
for sure. Moving on to the other side, we had Marcus Epps, who had the best 45 minutes of his stint so far with Rising in the second half of the game. You might be rolling your eyes, Owen, but I saw him. He was getting by his defender. He was connecting. He wasn't hesitating, which is one of the things that we have been begging for him not to do.
I'm not questioning whether you are correct or not. I'm saying I'm thinking it's a low bar for this season. Like, it's a low bar to surpass.
Yeah, no, for sure. Some of the Epps stats here: 1 assist, 6 key passes. I believe he had like around 86% passing accuracy. So yes, it is a low bar, but it is something, and I feel like he can build up for that. So definitely a good game from Epps. If a couple of those crosses connected, I think it could have been a closer game. So definitely get to see from Epps. And then Quinn, just a little stat here. He joins the 40-40 club of goals and assists in the USL. So shout out to Aodhan Quinn. But yeah, so Rising weren't able to get the result. Were you able to speak to Rick about any other things today, Owen?
There were bits and pieces that I was able to speak to him about, one of which I think we should save as a topic for a little bit later in the program. But trying to think what else in particular came up today. I feel like I've hit on a lot of them with the main points there, with the different changes that were made and the tactics. And that's a lot of what was going into today, is quite why exactly were things decided in the way that they were. I just, it's 4 losses in a row is never an easy one to kind of sit here and dissect easily. Especially in a circumstance like this. Now, Rising has lost twice to Vegas Lights now out of 3 total games they're going to play.
I think this is the final season. Time before we go to an ad break, Owen, that they travel to Las Vegas, right? So no more Vegas for the rest of the season?
No more Vegas away, except maybe in the playoffs, the way this is going.
Jeez. All right. Well,
if they make it.
If they make it. All right, guys. So let's take a quick break and talk about OG's brands. OG's just launched their first ever limited edition seasonal flavor, Pina Colada, a perfect pineapple and creamy coconut blend that's just in time for the summer road trips and pool parties. And speaking of pool parties, Owen, I know you're going to get here tomorrow as quick.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, my flight is not in time. It's not happening.
Anyway,
you enjoy yourself on my behalf, please, Ramon.
Fine, I'll take the producer instead. So speaking of pool parties, OG's is taking over Maya Day Club in Scottsdale this month, which means tomorrow, June 25th, they're going to be down there at Maya Day Club. So if you guys can get down there, you can hang out with some of the PHNX crew, since we will be out there, or at least I will try to be out there. It's not official yet, but you guys can also check out OG's online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. You must be 21 years or older to purchase.
Go get some OGs. The games might look better. Can I shout out the chat at the minute? I'm loving how the chat are all just like laughing their heads off at the fact that Rising might actually make the playoffs this season.
See, and Pat saying I'm always the positive one, looking at the silver lining, and Owen's talking about playoffs. So just a little heads up there.
I did caveat it by saying if they even make it, okay?
If they make it.
All right, should we move on to the next topic? And it was the kind of thing that we alluded to earlier, right? I'm going to kick straight in with this. It kind of takes it from the thumbnail, the image we had at the start of this broadcast. And there were some more questions here that went to Rick. So let's run that on Rick and about turning things around and maybe how long he's going to have to do so.
Just in general, though, now that's the second loss here, 4th in a row. How much longer do you really think you're going to have to turn things around?
I'm on contract for 2 more years.
And what do you think it's going to take then to turn it around?
The players have to step up right now. You know, we're working hard. We're doing everything that we need to do. The staff is working extremely hard, and we're giving everything we can to them. I'm giving every second I have to this team, and right now some of the guys just aren't stepping up at the right moments. But again, it's still in there. It's, you know, we'll keep going. We just have to keep going and move on. Got 2 goals on the road. It's, you know, valiant effort at the end. We have to figure out how to get that performance through 90 minutes.
I wish you can we screenshot the one where Rick's like 2 more years? Tough questions there, Owen.
Yeah. I mean, look, what's your reaction to that? Because obviously I've heard this before. I've had time to digest it because, you know, I was literally down there asking those questions. What do you think, Ramon?
Oh, man. Well, little defensive there with the 2-year 2 more years on my contract kind of thing. He knows this is tough. He knows I don't think he's on the hot seat. I think some of the chat is saying that, the front office and Rick are, kind of best buds there, but it's just, it looks like a man that's running out of answers. It looks like he's trying everything that he has at his disposal. And the fact that he responded with the, I have a contract for 2 more years, just says, hey, whether you like it or not, I'm staying. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I probably need a little bit more digestion on that one.
I just, the problem is, right, is that the second question is a question I've been asking for quite some time. And you always kind of look to it as, and, you can ask, why do I ask that question all the time? Well, it's because realistically, if things aren't getting better, then the plan you'd imagine is evolving over time. But it feels as though we're getting the same answer time and time again, and yet there's nothing really going on. I just, and again, it's put on the players. I know the chat took a lot of umbrage to that earlier, but I just don't know. I don't know at this point. And the question is, again, look, you can say what you want about. You can say what you want about the players. You can say what you want about the players. They're all Rick's guys. They are all Rick's guys. He's been here for so long that entire team pretty much is his guys. There is no one here who either hasn't brought in or has renewed their contract.
Yeah.
It's not like he's inherited a squad.
No, and exactly. No, it's his squad. He built it. It's his tactics. It's his team out there on the field. So there's no one really else to blame. I know he's trying to put it on the players a lot of the time, but at the end of the day, it's this four game losing streak, man. There's going to be a lot of questions, and I think he's kind of getting a little frustrated here. Before we continue here, Owen, let's talk about our DraftKings King of the Game. We got a special one this time, thanks to Mr. Owen here. The bird is the one that we picked for King of the Game. He's a well-traveled bird. Exactly 13,433 kilometers. Owen, can you explain what's going on with picking the bird for King of the Game?
I have no idea, to be honest. It was just there. It flew onto the field and then onto the ad board, so I managed to get this picture of it. But the bird just kind of flew on there. I put it out on Twitter. We're reliably informed it's not a local bird. It's not a local bird. It's an Australian bird. So I have no idea. But hey, let's go with it because on a loss like this, let's go with it.
Was this during the balloon fight in the middle of the halftime?
No, this was before the balloon. Look, would you believe it, right? We have just come off a game where they did a balloon fight on the field at halftime, and it took us 24 minutes into the broadcast to mention it. That tells you something about the performance from Rising. That tells you something about the performance from Rising, that it took us 24 minutes to bring up the fact that they had a shed load of people on the field throwing water balloons at each other at halftime.
Yeah, it was so odd because I was watching it on ESPN Plus, and you could just see the broadcast just kind of focusing on that. And it's like, and then after the balloon fight was done, there's guys trying to, air blow the balloons away from the field. It's just madness. That's absolute madness. What's going on in Vegas?
It's just chaos every time. Always is. People weren't best pleased about that, but hey, It is what it is. We've come to awkwardly expect it from this place. So hey.
Oh my God.
We move.
All of 300 people. So I don't think they broke the record, right? We talked about this yesterday.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The record is, I believe, around 8,500 people, wasn't it? Who used about 185,000 balloons, whereas here they had about 30,000 balloons, apparently.
Yeah.
So not even close. But congratulations on the world's biggest water balloon fight, guys.
Good job, Vegas. Speaking of DraftKings, guys, if you guys haven't, make sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. And when you use promo code PHNX, new customers can bet $5 on either NHL team to win their game. And we say either because the Stanley Cup Finals are going on right now. And get $100 in free bets no matter what. That's code PHNX at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Stanley Cup Final. Must be 21 years or older. to bet. Arizona only, new customers only, minimum $5 deposit. Restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And speaking of DraftKings,
I was gonna say they were they had Vegas as underdogs going into this game, quite heavy underdogs actually, didn't they? We discussed this yesterday. You could have made some money. I told you to put the money on there. I told you to.
And San Antonio. And San Antonio, because they were able to beat Colorado at home. That's impressive. So
you made some good money there.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, make sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now if you haven't yet. Make some good money here and watching some USL action.
Buy some beers to drown away the memory of this performance.
I was telling
some
our
Four Peaks beers.
Yeah,
some Four Peaks beers, very specifically.
There we go. No. I have this beer. I won't mention it. I really did try to go to Fry's today and buy some Four Peaks beer, and it wouldn't scan when I was trying to check out. So I was in a rush and I was going to be late to the game, so I wasn't able to get some.
If it doesn't scan, it's free, right? That's how it works.
I told the guy, but he said, "Sir, don't joke like that." Speaking of Four Peaks, real quick, guys, if you guys haven't been to Four Peaks in Tempe, we're actually going to be there on Wednesday along with the rest of the PHNX crew. So if you guys want to go, it's on the 8th Street Pub over there in Tempe. And so we're going to be hanging out there. So if you guys want to join us, grab a beer, maybe after work, maybe in the morning. I don't know what your schedule is, but
I'm definitely not going to be there in the morning.
But yeah, if you guys go there, at least one of us from PHNX Rising will be there. And you guys can hang out with us, talk about all the Rising shenanigans that are going on. And just a little heads up, you must be 21 years or older and make sure to enjoy it responsibly. All right, Owen. Man. Yeah, man. It's been a rough
day. We just hit that wall. We have hit the wall.
It's been a rough day. Yeah. It's, you mentioned what happened earlier in the day, but this is just.
We're here trying to come up with content, and we're sitting the same kind of wall that Rick appears to be hitting, trying to come up with a winning game plan at the moment.
I don't have a 2-year contract though, so we got.
Don't have a 2-year contract. I think it's just we've kind of hit the point now where even for us, right? It's tiring having this conversation game after game after game. It's tiring sitting around here and just saying, what are we going to do? How long is this going to go on for? How long can the ownership allow this to go on for? And we just are hitting that point whereby what do we do now? Because we can't just ignore it. You can't ignore the poor run that they're on. But equally, there's only so much we can talk about. This is this bad. And no one expects this, right? It's not like these aren't the Coyotes, okay? No offense to any Coyotes fans in the chat. No, but everyone expected this. Everyone expected this. So,
I mean, I
single person expected Rising to play like this.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no points in June. 4 games, 4 losses across June. Seriously now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And here to Kieran Thompson's comment here. We used to be somber after a loss like this. Now we're just used to it. Yeah, it's pretty rough.
That's a problem. That's a real problem.
We shouldn't get used to this. That's a big issue here. Yeah, not good at all. But looking ahead, Owen.
Don't you dare say there's sunshine and rainbows on the horizon. No, don't you dare, Ramon.
No, I know you don't like me being positive, but
no,
we're gonna have Orange County visiting PHNX Rising next Saturday. That's gonna be a battle between 11th place and 12th place in the Western Conference. Owen, how are you feeling about it?
Hot seat derby.
Come on.
It's a tough one, though, because it's 2 teams that have really been struggling as of late. Now, the question is, can Loudon start? So they're playing Loudon tomorrow, Orange County. Can they start to turn it around by getting a result against a team that on paper are a very poor team? And that game's taking place in Irvine. So the opportunity's there for them, but I just... I see a lot of people in the chat at the moment are talking about who could be brought in. There's talk. I'm not going to pretend there aren't whispers going around at the moment about what would happen. I'm not going to pretend that people aren't briefing it almost as though they want the job right now.
You putting your hat in that ring, Owen?
Oh God, no! God, no!
No? Come on.
Limit myself to Football Manager on the old Mac. That's You know, the magic of that is that if you don't do well, you can save the game before the game is played and then just quit out and go back in. Unfortunately, Rick can't replay this match, and neither would I if I was coach. I'm not doing it. No, God.
Yeah.
Look, it's people are pointing to the fact that when Aldo was at the match tonight, he was indeed former Las Vegas manager. He is living in the Valley. I mean, he's someone who is almost certainly got interest in this job if it were to become available. But
yeah,
the point of that is it's available as and when the ownership decide, really. At this point, that's how it sounds. So,
yeah.
I mean,
tough
month coming up, though, still. Very tough month.
Yeah, July's going to be real tough. Just to wrap it up here, just to go over the stats from the game, just a quick look at them. Obviously, Las Vegas scored 3 goals, Rising with 2. 61% possession for Las Vegas, 39 to Phoenix. It was a lot higher in the first half for Las Vegas. It was kind of sad to look at here. But if you look at the shots, again, Rising, we've talked about this over and over again, Owen. 20 shots on target. 20 shots overall, 4 shots on target, and only 2 goals. And that kind of just sums up the season right now, where they're letting the ball fly, not able to score, and just another week of the same thing happening up front. So
I like John's comment. I like John's comment in here. We don't need stats. It's just more sadness.
More sadness for everybody. Yeah, have a drink tonight. Grab yourself some Four Peaks Brewing Company, and enjoy the Friday night. But Owen, any last thoughts before we wrap it up for tonight?
Oh, 4 losses in a row. The next game is at home against a very poor team, at least from their performances this year. A very poor team. If we are in this same position next Saturday, I question how anyone can really begin to have faith in a turnaround.
Yeah.
I look. Remember at the start of this road trip. And we were sitting here talking about how many points did they have to get to avoid it being an abject failure. And I said 4 out of 6. They've got none out of 6.
None.
I mean,
Scott wants you to just spill the beans on what's going on in the locker room. So, I mean, here's the thing. It's we hear rumblings, and it's tough. It's tough to hear these things, especially from given how talented this team is. But if they lose to Orange County, I might be switching my position, where it's like I don't think there's any more excuses about this. That's 5 consecutive losses. You're heading into a July that's just going to be even more rough than June was. So at that point, I'm just throwing my hands up and saying, you know what, there just has to be someone else in charge. And I'm not happy saying that. I don't like anyone ever losing their job, but you just kind of shrug your shoulders and say what the heck is going on.
So is that a yes from you?
If they lose again next week, yeah, I don't think that's excusable. 5 losses in a row, not really. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can rescue the fact that they scored 2 goals on the road, but other than that, it's not working out.
It's too little, too late. Yet again.
Yeah,
I think it has to be a win next week. There was times, quite frankly, today watching at least the first half, and people who. And this is where I think, look, there'll be people now who can sit there and say, from a coaching perspective, from an ownership perspective, no, well, no, you've got to be patient. You've got to give him time. There were people who I saw out there today, fans who seriously back Rick, and they saw that first half and were just, how does he recover from this? How do you realistically turn this around? And was the second half performance better? Yes. But again, it still wasn't good enough. So that's the question, really, is just how much longer can this carry on for? How much longer? Yeah,
definitely. All right, Owen, we'll wrap it up with that. I do want to shout out the chat again. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know this isn't the most funnest show to attend sometimes because of the losses, but we always appreciate it. If you haven't, make sure to hit like on that like button. It really helps just distribute our show, helps us find more Rising fans just like you, really helps us grow. We really appreciate you tuning in. especially after the losses. Always appreciate that from you guys. So shout out to Dan, Pat, Scott. I saw Bonnie here a little bit earlier. We got Corey, Elizabeth, who wants Edwin as coach. Rye over here. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in.
Edwin for coach. I feel like we're gonna have to text him tonight and see what he has to say.
Yeah, I think it's a good job. Maybe better than the one he has right now. No, we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, make sure to follow us on Twitter as well. PHNX__rising. Almost to 650. If you guys get us there, I will be giving out a scarf. Always appreciate that. But that is it from Vegas. Owen, have a great trip back. Safe trip as well. Can't even talk right now.
Have a great trip back. That's a really weird one. Like, I hope the plane doesn't crash.
A safe trip back. There we go. We'll end it with that. All right, y'all. And thank you to our producer, Jacob. Thank you so much for doing that, for helping us out. And we are wrapping it up for tonight. Thank you. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Take care.